Hello, everybody. It's Julie Lomas, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Conscious Connections. I have a really wonderful guest with me again today. You've met her several times before, but we all love having Sue Lilly with us. Today, we're actually going to discuss tarot cards, all about tarot, reading, where they came from. Sue reads tarot cards. Amongst her many other things that she does, she's amazing. Just like I read my normal cards. I don't read tarot. I can, but I don't. So because readings and tarot are being talked about a lot at the moment, I thought we'd just bring Sue's wonderful wisdom, and she'll tell us all about tarot. So before we start, if you like what you hear and you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. It is free, and it just means that we get more opportunities to bring many more of these wonderful videos to share with you. So thank you for being here, and let's welcome Sue. So welcome, Sue.
Hi, hello everybody. Yes, as Julie says, I do tarot as well, but it was a bit of an accident that I ended up doing that, because I learned astrology first, and the people I learned off, they also taught people tarot. And so I thought, oh, I'll just go along anyway. But because I'd already known my astrology stuff, it meant tarot was quite easy. If you're learning totally from scratch, then it will probably affect the decks you would choose anyway. So tarot's pretty old. I mean, there's evidence of stuff going back into China, you know, and places in Korea and things, people using, obviously, as soon as they had paper available, they would use cards. And but it didn't really come to Europe and the Middle East and Europe until about the 1400s. And basically a lot of laws were passed in various places to stop people doing cards. Yeah. Playing cards full stop, you know, as in the ordinary stuff that you will play poker with, those as well. But the playing of cards was really very much frowned upon. And I think because mainly it was time wasting, or that's what all the overlords and the people in charge thought, the people are playing cards. But I think that the most famous ones were done in Italy, and they're called tarocchi. They appeared in Italy, and they were the first ones to show the trump cards, because the rest, tarot's in 3 bits. Yes. You've got what are called the PIP cards, which are the 1 to 10. Then you've got the court cards, and of course in tarot there are 4 court cards, 1 extra than is in an ordinary playing deck. And then there's another 22 cards on top of that are called trumps or triumphs. And it was in Italy when these first appeared. And some of the diagrams are pretty intense. But a lot of it is because it's the information it conveys. And I know, and I'll tell you in a minute, you know, the deck I use, I know some people won't use for that reason. But it's really interesting because tarot comes under the big umbrella of divination, generally. And one of the things about divination in all its forms, it's how to make information clearer from A to B. You know, like, you know, am I going to be able to afford to go on holiday this year? It is a straightforward question, and the sort of question that you should be asking. And then you can actually come up with a straight yes, no. With tarot, you might come up with a yes, but. And that's the advantage you have with tarot, amongst other things. But the thing is, it's the clarity of where the person's going and the person doing the reading. Because, for example, if I ask somebody to pull 3 cards out of the back, because I always get, and my clients always pick their cards. I don't pick them. In my head, I have already decided what card 1 is going to mean, what card 2 is going to mean, and what card 3 is going to mean. I haven't told them, but I set the pattern up here. And this is the knack of good divination. It's the
Yes.
person doing the divining, whatever, has to be really clear about what they're doing. They don't have to tell their client, but the nature of how people's energies interact means that the subconscious of the client gets the message.
Yes.
It's very clever.
Sense.
It's a bit
Yes.
healing, ironically, works this way as well. And it's to do with how the two energy systems interact. And so you'll see when we come to look at sort of spreads and things you can do with tarot cards or any other cards for that example, it's the key about what that card is going to represent for that person. And if it's not clear, then you just ask for another card for a bit more information. But it's realizing that whoever's doing the reading is the person that needs the clarity. And so for the clarity, you need to have your feet on the ground and you need to be fairly, fairly focused on what you're doing. Otherwise, you're just going to get gobbledygook.
Yes, that makes sense. Yes, and it's very important for the reader to be grounded, to be really here. Yes, that's one of the things that I really believe in, but I know many people who read cards, tarot or whatever, they're not. No. And then everything's confused.
Yeah. And that's when it goes into the realms of incorrect information.
Yes.
Because if you've got the clarity, the information that comes out of that is going to be correct. You might not be able to work out what it means. But it's one of those situations where if you note down, oh, I did this and I did that, maybe 3 or 4 days later, you think, it was there.
Yes. Yes.
Even on some really, really drastic questions, you might not realize actually what they means until months later. And then you think, I saw that and I didn't understand what it was trying to tell me.
Yes.
Especially if you're doing readings for yourself. I mean, they say you should never do, but of course you do. And it's that clarity that makes it so important, and the groundedness that comes with it.
Yes.
I mean, especially if you're with a client who's never had a reading before, and especially with a tarot, if a card comes up that they find scary, you're going to lose it unless you've got your feet on the ground.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. No, I don't want that card. Well, you chose it. I'm sorry.
Yes. Now you need to hear.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I get people to choose the cards, because then it's not my fault.
Yes. Yeah. I like that. I like that.
I thought, no, you chose it. That's
I mean, I have had my cards read by you, and they're always
yeah. So it's quite interesting. A lot of the decks, and actually, and Julie earlier on showed me a deck. A lot of the decks are around these days are based on what's called the Rider-Waite pack.
Yes,
and
you have that. You've got them.
The Rider-Waite pack.
Yeah, I have a pack of those somewhere.
Yeah. And a lot of the ones are variations. Yeah, they're all variations on the Rider-Waite. Yeah. And so the Rider-Waite are actually quite a good one to learn on. And when you work with it a lot, you can see the nuances within the Rider-Waite. But it's definitely one to work on, because basically numbers 1 to 10 of the cards go in with numerology. And if you know your numerology and you know what fire, earth, air, and water means, you can usually suss out, what a one of water or an ace of water is going to mean emotions. We've got a 1, so it's a start or something.
Yeah.
So whatever it says in the little book that comes with it, or the book that goes with it, if you know your numerology, you've got a pretty good place to start. You've got the 4 court cards, King, Queen, Knight, and Page in most cards, and therefore you've got the mature woman, mature man, the young man, and either an even younger man or a young woman and a young man. Either the page could be, depending on the deck. And when they come up, they do mean people. And if you do a lot of readings, particularly if you your readings for friends, for example, you'll get to know that a certain person amongst your friendship circle always comes out as that card.
Yes.
You
Yes.
think, ah, that's so and so.
Yes.
And
yes.
I also recognize me sometimes when I'm reading for other people. I think, oh, Struth, that's me. That's me doing the reading for this person today.
Yes.
You know,
That's interesting, Sue, because I you know how we have those haha moments. I've just realized, because when I do my cards, I very often use the playing cards. I prefer that. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I've just realized always there is a card, there's one in there that's me, and there's one that's always certain people. And as soon as I lay them down, I know.
You know who it is.
I know who they are, and it's never wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I
know. And this is the interesting thing. We see tarot have then got the set of what they call trumps. And these really are to do with they can be to do with people, but often they're to do with big things that are going on. You know, so in other words, you know, if someone's having a really big shift in their life, it will come up. So if you do a layout and you've got lots and lots of trumps, you know, you're thinking, oh, okay, this is a big thing for this person. Now, it was easy for me as an astrologer because the trumps are linked in to the signs of the zodiac and the planets. So for me, I would know what they were because I knew the planets. And I knew the signs. But it's interesting how that broadens out what the little book that comes with them will tell you when you know that. And I think that's one of the reasons the deck I learnt on Rider-Waite, but I also learnt on one of the decks that's called the Thoth deck, which a lot of people scares them rigid because some of the drawings are a bit intense, but they've all got astrological symbols on. So if you have a really blank 5 minutes, you can put a pin in on that one and you think, oh yes, I know what this means. And it can help you in that way. So I ended up using what's called the Thoth deck because it was so astrologically aligned.
I'm so
but a lot of people find the energy of it a bit heavy. Now, there are some decks, I don't know whether the mythic one, like the one that Julie had, is like that, but there are some decks that are really lovely. They produce very nice trump cards and court cards. Like this one here is called the Merlin deck. And
I like that deck, yes.
But the number cards, or what's called the PIP cards, are of no interest. There's nothing fancy on them at all.
No.
It's just like the playing cards.
Yeah.
You know, and so the artist has gone to all that trouble to do the trump cards beautifully and the court cards beautifully, and then there's just thought, oh, you know, I'm just going to do, and it's so you have to think about it when you're looking at certain decks. I know there's one other deck that I really like the artwork of, and I couldn't find it. I went through the pile of cards I've got here, I couldn't find it, called Hanson Roberts. I love the medieval colours of that one, and the colours are very strong. And that's one of the things, you know, it doesn't matter who designed the deck, it's whether you like it or not.
Yes, absolutely.
Because if you don't like it,
you're not going to resonate with it.
Exactly. Why are you doing it?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, so you pick something you like, you know, they say, oh no, somebody else should buy your cards for you. Right. No, you need to, it's your tool.
Yes. You need to buy. Yes.
Those ideas of no, it's your tool. You need, it's like with crystals. You go for the ones you like.
Because that's what you need. Because that's what your body is resonating with.
And that's where the communication comes from. And as you develop your own perceptive skills on top of whatever the artist has put in, you have to like what you're doing, because you need to be relaxed so that your body can actually pick up the communication that it actually does.
Yes.
You know, so I think it's one thing, you've got to take out the fear of tarot. because all it is a tool.
Mm.
You know, they have that phrase in English, put your cards on the table.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening, is the cards of the table ground what's going on up here.
Mm-hmm.
So by putting the cards on the table, yeah, you might not like the fact that someone else can see what's going on in your head, but you might not like what's going on in your head either. But once you put the cards on the table, it does actually ground the energies. And so can actually be a stress releasing process.
Yes.
And there's actually nothing to be afraid of. The thing to be afraid of is the ungrounded reader.
Yes.
Who
Absolutely.
uses their ego to, I would say curse, but you are actually, to basically curse somebody by saying what they see in the cards. You know, I think in astrology, I've seen death twice in 40 years. And I think probably maybe the same in the cards after all this time. You can't really tell. And again, it's usually after the event. You think,
that was
I saw that and I didn't say anything. You know, and you think, well, what would you have said? I mean, I've seen it for myself about 3 years ago, just pre-COVID. I think we had a death in the family, and I did a spread. Is anybody else going to die? I was in one of those things. It was like, this is stupid. And a card came up. I thought, is it a family member? Pulled a card. Yes. Okay. So, and I went through a few family members, and I got 2 yeses, and I thought, that's ridiculous. Didn't think any more of it.
And later
it came out, it was there, but I didn't, because I dismissed it, because I thought, well, that's just crazy. There's no way that person and that person, you know. So, you know, even when you're reading for yourself, sometimes you can see it, but you don't see it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I maybe we're not supposed to see it.
And I think that's it, you know, and because people often say to me with astrology, oh, there's a really bad, somebody told me there's a really bad transit coming up. Does that mean there's something really bad going to happen? I said, look, John Lennon's death was on a minor transit that you would have missed. You know, people don't die on the big stuff.
No.
People grow on the big stuff.
Yes.
And the same with the trump cards in tarot.
Yes.
When the trump cards come up, it's about people growing. It's about people coming across life situations that they are learning to deal with. It's got nothing to do with dying. You know, and so to think that you can even do stuff like that is really a bit daft when it comes down to it. You know, and so that's the main thing to say is those big things, even if you see it as a reader, you'll miss it.
Yes, because I think we're meant to miss it. I think we're not supposed to
you're meant to miss it. You're not meant to. And if someone says they will tell you when you die, you know, when you're going to die, I mean, it's like, no. That is all down to a lot of things a lot bigger than 2 individuals sitting across the table. You know, and I'm quite sure that if people could listen to their guides or whatever last year, they'd all be in hysterics because they think it was so stupid that people could even think they can do it.
I agree. Yeah.
You know, and I think that's one of the important things. Plus the fact, whatever somebody says to you when they're doing reading, they should be identifying where decision points are, but not telling you what you should do.
Exactly.
They might be able to give you options.
Yes.
It could be this, it could be that, it could be that.
There's a possibility,
but they should not be saying, well, you've got to do that.
No.
You know, and I even had, you know, this morning, somebody wanting me in astrology to say, what do you do? Can't do that. I can give the options, I can give you the vague areas, but I cannot tell you what to do.
No, you cannot.
That's your choice, that's your whatever.
Yes.
And so I think it's really important, because I find on the few times I've gone for readings, and I have sometimes, because I genuinely really wanted to know, all I get is somebody telling me about my kids. You know, and it's like, I don't want to know about them. I know about them already. I want to know what's happening about me. It's all just coming out. And it's like, some energy is like saying, no, you don't tell her what's going on. Just put the fluff in.
Yeah. I'm totally in tune with you there. That's what happens to me as well.
It's so annoying. I'm thinking, no, I want some. Usually, I want someone to pat me on the head and tell me I'm not cracking up. But it's like even when you go and ask for help, sometimes it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't.
So it doesn't matter whether you're tossing bones in the air or leaves or
whatever,
or you're putting cards
shells,
out,
whatever.
shells, or you're using.
Somebody was telling me they do Scrabble tiles. He reads.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'd never heard that before. But
and runes and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what you're doing when it comes down to it. The principle is it's grounded, focus. And you got to have the pattern, because if you don't have the pattern, then the cards that are pulled out, they're not going to have, if you like, a box where their energy needs to fit in. If that makes any sense.
Yes.
Then there needs to be a containment field. Oh, go all Star Trek. Needs to be a containment field for the tarot card to go in.
Yes.
Otherwise, it just won't well. I mean, one of the best things I often do is if I have a question, I formulate the question, and very carefully, it's like it said, it's no good saying, when am I going to go on holiday?
Because they're not going to tell you that.
Yeah, because there isn't a yes, no, there isn't a straightforward answer.
No.
Whereas if I said, can I afford to go on holiday this year? Mind you, I should think mine will probably come up. Well, what do you mean by holiday? But most people, they what they mean by holiday.
Yeah.
Then you would pick up your deck. I tend to shuffle them quite a bit, and I often pull a card until I feel the deck settle down, and then I pull a card. Okay, and that card's come up to answer my question, going on holiday. And basically it's a very positive card. That it's you can see it looks nice.
It's very nice.
It's a nice balanced card, whatever.
Yeah.
If it came up as a not sure, then you just ask with another card to give you some more information. And this one doesn't look so pretty.
No, but actually, it's more solid.
Yeah, but if I was looking at that as a give me some more information, the first thing I would think of, 3 of course, that's a Libran card. So I'm thinking, well, it's telling me I'm going on holiday in October.
Oh,
yeah. And that's the sort of thing, because I know the cards well enough to know that the extra information was like September, October time.
Yeah. I see.
You see, one of the simplest things to do is just what I call a 1-card pull. That's your answer. If you need something cooperation, pull another card, and it will give you extra information. Straightforward, no messing. I don't do upside down cards.
No, I don't either.
Because I think the card is the energy. How the person uses it is up to them.
Well, that's energy in general, right?
Energy in general. It's like it doesn't have a heads or a tails like coin do. It's just, this is it. And if they're going to mess it up, well, then that's up to them whether they mess it up or not.
Yeah.
But it's just energy. And it's like that 3 of Swords that I just pulled just now. It's a lot about the balance needs readjusting, which is one of the reasons why it's 3 of there, why it's a Libran card, because that's what Libra energy does.
It balances.
It readjusts things. And it's dark color, because it usually means that there's there might be a choice, or there might be a loss on the way, but you've got to go forward.
Yes.
And so you get to know your cards that way. And if you're learning a deck, that's the way to do it.
Yes.
Give me a card for today. Is there anything else I need to know? Second one. And if you keep a diary or a journal, write it down. Write it down what you think it means. and the next day look back and think, well,
See, well, actually, it meant that.
which is what happens. Well,
Yeah,
actually meant
yeah.
something else. And what the thing is then is you've learned something about that card.
Yes,
You
yes.
learned something about the card that isn't in the book or isn't on the YouTube video that someone said about this is what this card does, this one. It's your relationship to those cards that is the key.
Yes, absolutely, Sue,
You know,
absolutely. It's just
and
like
it's
our
like,
crystals.
and you can build up quite a substantial relationship to a deck
Yeah.
of cards that you like.
Yes.
And that's why you buy one that you like.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Makes
you'd all
sense,
be
doesn't it?
thinking of Auntie Maud every time you get the cards out, and you'd be thinking, I don't really like these cards she bought me.
Yeah. I didn't really like anti-Maud really, but never mind.
Yeah, but that's the trouble,
But,
you know.
it's the thing, isn't it? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And,
Oh,
and this is what it's like. It's to do with building up
a
a
relationship.
relationship with the card, with the tool you're using.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can actually use anything to read if you know the tool well enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can use colour at the drop of a hat because it's
Yes,
something I know really, really
yes,
well.
yes.
And I can use those to read, and I can use crystals to read because
Yeah, I love to use my crystals to read.
exactly. I know crystals really, really well, but it's to do with that relationship that you actually have.
Yeah, yes, I
And
agree.
yeah, and I think the important thing is the cards that are scary, and it's interesting. There's certainly a couple in the Thoth deck. I use those because the people really get seriously worried, and I try and keep a straight face because I know what's coming up. And you think to yourself, oh dear. There's two in particular that actually are very helpful because when they come up, they're telling you something, giving you information that's very important. And this will go for the same for any deck. Now, there's one card in most decks that's called the Devil. You can see that?
Yes, yes.
Now this imagery is actually absolutely hilarious when you look really, really close. I'll see if I can find the Rider-Waite one as well, because that's even more funny.
Yeah, yeah.
As you can see, this one has got sexual overtones, which
Yes,
some
many
people
of them
find,
do. Yeah.
But also, the goat looks half drunk. You know? And it's like, and if anyone's, I'm looking at my Rider-Waite now, and if anyone wanted to actually tell you that this isn't as serious as it looks, you put a half drunk goat on a piece of paper for somebody,
yes,
and obviously, and also for that particular show, I'll pull that one out as well. But for the particular one for the Thoth deck, which is one I showed you just now. It's got a lot of sexual overtones as well.
Yes,
it gives you the impression that you've also got the problems of the someone rushing in where maybe they shouldn't do, and
yes,
and the balance between the sexes. Yeah, when you see and the Rider-Waite Devil.
That's yeah.
He's just as apart from being cross-eyed. The interesting thing about him. We've got the two figures underneath him that are chained to him.
Yes, yes.
But the thing is, the chains are so wide, the person can actually lift them off.
Yeah.
And that's the key with the Devil card.
I'm just looking at the Devil card here.
Yeah, is that basically it's saying you think you're trapped, but you're not. And all you need to do is alter your thinking.
Yeah. That's it.
You think you're thinking on that line, very male thinking on that line, and it's saying, no, there are choices here. You've accepted something that you shouldn't do. And like with the Rider-Waite, you think you're trapped, you think you could walk away.
It's the same on this one, on mine from the Mythic. See?
It's exactly the same. He's got them chained. Yeah. And it's and people really, really freak out. When it's actually the message is actually saying to you, it's actually giving you some helpful message. And a lot of the nasties do that. I mean, the other classic one is the Death card.
Oh, yes. That's
the Thoth.
Yeah.
That's the Rider-Waite.
Yes.
The Thoth is actually better bit of art. Yeah, a bit of art actually.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's a Scorpio card.
Oh,
and so it's going to be terribly intense. That's why it's all dark colors. But it's about it's basically initiation. It's about soul process. It's about leaving the past behind and moving into the future.
always, yes, always.
Always. And it's like so you know, it's not the death of the physical death. It's the death of the ego. It's the death of the thinking process
Or of a situation.
habit that you have.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes, yes.
and so, yeah, I've had a few going back years when I used to read in public, like up at the big shows in London. You know, you get people freaking out when they pull out the death card,
Yes.
and you're saying no, and you've got to actually point out that's not what these are about.
Mm-hmm.
So having a spread with lots and lots of trump cards in it just shows you, like it is for a lot of young people at the moment in their 20s, where there are a lot of astrological and shifting things, is there's big stuff going on. You know, and with big stuff going on, there's opportunities and opportunities to grow, which is what the trump cards are about.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So it takes all the fear
and it's
away.
really, yeah.
And all, yeah.
And it's like it's realizing what your tool really represents. And it's there literally, cards on the table. It's helping someone and yourself sometimes to actually see what's going on in their own self. So if somebody says, well, can you do a reading for my husband? Sorry, no. You know, if husband wants reading, husband comes.
And comes. I'm exactly the same. And actually, when I do it with the playing cards and they ask me, I go, okay, we'll try it if you want. And they're adamant. I go, they won't read. They won't read for him.
No, they won't read.
You put them out and it's just gobbledygook.
Because absolute junk.
Yeah,
you know, because you haven't got the energy permission.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I mean, astrologically it's the same. They'll give me the date, and I said, well, yeah, but it's like looking at a newborn baby's chart. There's no presence
yet
there. It doesn't work.
No.
Oh, do you have specific layouts you use, Julie? When you're
not really anymore. I like to normally do 5 if I'm doing my own cards like these.
Oh, yeah.
And if I do my playing cards, I lay them in rows of 6.
Yeah.
5 rows of 6. That's it. But otherwise, it's just like, let's pick a shuffle and let's pick a card. I always like to take, so if I shuffle, let's take a card, blah, blah, blah. And I always go, oh, give me the guidance. And I always like to take that.
Yeah.
Well, we just got visionary here. So there we are.
Yeah.
Think out of the box,
right.
think differently.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I mean, you could get very, very, very complicated layouts.
Yeah.
But it's all down to what we said at the very beginning. You have to know what that card means.
Yes. And how it is
expected to be. And therefore it will colour how you relate to your client, what that card means.
Yes.
You know, I mean, some of the classics, Celtic Cross.
Yes.
Which is a very good general one. You know, let's see what's going on generally. And again, you know, you have cards that mean the past, cards that mean the last week, and therefore you read them in that way, and they can be very, very useful. And that particular pattern, I think, is a very handy general one.
Yes.
I might sometimes do 3 by 3. So you've got past, present, future.
I do that sometimes, but
and you can always read up and down as well, physical, emotional, mental. Depends how you set it up here.
Yes.
But it's like, you know, as long as you've got that pattern in your head,
you can read.
Yes, will come out on the table. But I think the main thing particularly with tarot is it is different, like from Julie's general cards. Although you can use them in the same sort of way, but the tarot is a very specific set of cards. I mean, it's like my Simon's done some very beautiful tree cards.
They're gorgeous.
That's one of the ones he's got, which is Elder. And when he was designing cards, he was thinking about doing tarot. But he said the trouble with tarot is it's the nature of its restriction, because it's a very specific set of cards. Actually makes it a slightly harder work for the artist to really get right. You know, and like the lady that designed Coleman, who did the Rider-Waite, and I can't remember her, Patricia, but has gone out of my mind at the moment, who did the again, a woman who did the Thoth. It's a big ask to produce that number of cards.
It's a lot of cards.
So you've got a deck of cards plus the extra 4, and then you've got 22 on top of that. It really is, you know, 78 cards with very distinctive, specific meanings.
Yes.
Is a big ask. But that's the, if you like, the fun or the joy of using tarot. But it's also, if you're designing it, is the problem. So a lot of people, like with Julie's cards and like with the one side goes, it's easier to just do a deck.
Yeah.
And then people are able to take from it what they want. Yes. You can still do it, the patterns exactly the same way as the tarot. Yeah. But tarot is a very specific thing. And in fact, when it was still around, the British Astrological and Psychic Society, when it was still around, I was vetted as an astrologer. And I was vetted as a card reader because I like to use other cards other than tarot. There was a category for tarot reader. It was very specific just for tarot. But I got vetted as a card reader because I like to do other things. And so it's a very different thing. And I would say to people, get a deck that you like the artistry of or whatever of. Get to know it. Play the simple stuff with yourself. What's coming up today? What do I need to give me a hand? Until you get to know them before even trying out on somebody else. And when you try out on other people, you're probably going to have to look them up to begin with. What it says in the book.
It says, yes.
Yeah, because 78 decks is a hell of a lot cards is a lot to take in.
Yes.
That's why I like the Thoth deck, because I've got the astrological links. It gives me a shortcut.
Automatically, yes, exactly.
But when I was thinking about it the other day, how long I've been using that deck, and I am now on my 4th one or 5th one, because they got so dogged in the end I had to ditch them. Best of part 40 years.
Why, you see?
Yeah. But I still get so much from the imagery. I think one of the other ones that's also people dread, and it's another one where the information is actually helpful, is the tower.
I knew you were going to say that. It was on top of my pack.
People dread that one.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because astrologically it's Mars.
Oh, is it?
And one of the interesting things about the way it's drawn in the Thoth deck is that someone's trying to put a round top on a square tower.
Oh.
So in other words, what's trying to come together doesn't fit.
It's not going to work. Yeah.
It's not going to work.
No.
And it's like, and one of the other associated meanings is go back over, it's don't assume. You have assumed something. So it's actually, when you get that, it's advice.
Yes.
It's saying you've made an assumption somewhere along the line. You need to go back and actually look. I think the classic one is look at the small print. Yeah. And because you have made an assumption, and the two things that you're trying to put together won't go. That's why it's to do with disaster. And I think on the Rider-Waite, the people are falling, but they haven't quite hit the ground.
Yes.
Yeah. In other words, you're not dead yet, but if you don't do something fast,
you might be.
You will be. Yeah. But I think that that's the thing, is realizing the advice there, and how it's been put together by various artists.
Yes.
And even in the really, really old Italian ones, you know, they were trying to convey a packet of information. But in the end, only you can undo the whole of that packet for yourself.
Yes, but that's life, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's why tarot in particular is quite interesting.
Yes.
Because you have all the combination of the astrology anyway.
Yeah.
If you happen to be using a deck like I do, like the Thoth, for me, it means I can use numerology. I've got numerology, I can use astrology. And even if you weigh the colors used in some people, you can actually see what's happening. And it's like, particularly with the court cards, I think there's one of them is the King of Swords in all of the decks. Whenever that comes up, he's bank manager. It's basically someone who's completely detached, you know, making a very, very cold decision, you know, like a bank manager would, or
yes,
a solicitor or somebody like that, you know. And quite often you can work out who it is just by the story of the picture.
Yes.
You know, and what they look like.
Yeah, like my playing cards. And I swear, my playing cards, the faces change. I swear, because one minute I go, you look so unhappy today. Why? And I go, you know, because then again, it's that energy and that build.
It's the energy that comes across. And quite often, you know, if a court card comes up and someone said, and you're thinking, well, there's a person here, and they say, well, you describe the person, so you describe the person. Yes. They say, oh, I know who that is. It's so and so, so and so, so and so.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a fascinating. I'm so glad that we're having this chat because tarot.
But I think a lot of it is, you know, something you do for yourself, but you need to be grounded and you need to be focused, and don't ask stupid questions.
Yes.
You know,
and don't use them like a crutch either, because I know many people who do. So, because
and it's like, because what happens if you use them as a crutch is that, well, particularly well plugged in, is you'll get what I call a brick around the back of the head saying, look, make your own choices.
Yes.
You know, because that's what it comes down to in the end. It can tell you where the energies are going, but you're the driver. And so it's up to you actually what you do with the information.
Yes.
You know, and all the reader does is give you the information. And they should not be telling what to do. I mean, many, many years ago when I first started, it used to be really bad. You know, the people saying, oh, you've got to do this, or so and so and so. So it's giving you the evil eye and things like that. And you think, no, actually, you're doing that.
You know, you putting that on it. Yes.
It is actually the thing, and that's actually not what they're for.
No, that's your ego telling them. Yes.
That's right. I mean, and there are some decks out there that are very good psychological decks, and the psychologists will use them because they bring up psych cards are a good one. A friend of mine wrote the original book on psych cards. You can still get them, and they're much more subtle, but they still bring out what's in the brain and put it on the table.
And can clear.
So if you don't like the look of tarot, but you want something a little bit more, you know, half and half, then look at PSY cards. So you can still get them on Amazon. And I've got a deck somewhere.
I
don't know where, but I know I've got a deck somewhere. But yes, because it's understanding the tool that you're working with. And if you find tarot overwhelming, I would suggest maybe look at some of the more modern artistically, because now people can do it digitally. Of course, the artistry is a lot more involved.
Yes.
And you can sometimes find one that suits you because of your belief systems. But it must be one that you like.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be, and you need to purchase it yourself. And I do have very often, but mine are more like positive affirmation cards. Many people buy these as gifts. and they go, I want to buy that for my daughter because it's the positive affirmation, but they read it totally different. But the tarot, somebody gave me a pack when I first started. Oh, I didn't like that. I can't think of the name. And then I had to go and buy. I bought the Rider White, and then I found the Mythic, which I like.
Yes,
and
which are based on Rider-Waite, and I mean, like I said, a lot of cards, an awful lot of cards are based on Rider-Waite. I don't think anyone's taken the Thoth deck on. It's just too complicated. But Rider-Waite is fairly straightforward in its basics.
Yes.
And so they're really comfy to use, and the ones that came after them. I mean, and a lot of people are doing, and a lot of people now are just doing straight small runs of cards, like oracle cards, like you said, affirmations and things.
Yes, like mine. Yeah. And
mine
came with meditation. I just got all the words, and that was the end of that. And
it's like with Sign in his tree stuff. It's all just arrives. It's like how do you get it down?
Yeah, how do you do that? And then
how do you do that?
Yeah, and it works, and it's wonderful. So so for me, it's I think like you, it's like use them, be grounded, and let them clear your head, basically, and then use what is right for you. Did you want to put pictures? Were we going to put some pictures up at the back?
Oh, we were going to try and share.
Did we ever go?
Yeah, because you'd have to give me host. Go on then.
Okay, so everybody, if we go off for a minute, don't worry, we'll figure it out. Sue and I haven't got my trusty gizm with me, you know, so we're going to try and show you some pictures of tarot cards. So I'm going to say share, make host. Okay, here we go.
That's right.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's
anything happen?
Yes,
you're host now. You're host.
That's right. There we go. There we go.
Okay, there we are.
And can you see that?
Wow, look at that.
And these are the trump cards from the Thoth deck.
These are beautiful.
You know, as you can see, they are particularly beautiful.
They really are beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Much more involved than the Rider-Waite.
Much more, yes. Absolutely, they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
And these are the ones you use all the time. So you must have read.
Oh, look, there's two towers there. I obviously had two goes at taking the photograph.
Oh yeah. Oh well. Maybe there's a meaning.
I mean,
in that
some of them are particularly beautiful.
Yeah, that is gorgeous.
I mean, the star card is particularly
beautiful.
But and they've got what I call initiation cards in them. You know, when they come up for somebody, I know that they're going through a spiritual change.
Yeah.
The Hanged Man is another one people don't like. And that's another one. It's just, you know, other people see you're out of step.
Yeah. I just hanging around. You're not making any decisions.
You're out of step. In fact, what you're doing is you're actually sorting yourself out inside.
Yeah, my hanged one.
Yeah.
Oh, they're lovely.
If I just stop that share and I just pull up another one.
Okay. This is
hang on, wrong thing. Press the wrong thing.
It's all right. See, we're being very technical.
Yes, you see, this is the classical Celtic cross.
Yes.
And so you nominate, like, the first two cards of the situation. The third card is what you can do about it, if anything. The fourth card is the root. Sometimes I only do half of this. I don't, you know, because it's so useful. Fourth card is the root. 5 is the now. And 6 is the next couple of weeks. 7 is the next couple of months. So it's a very good general card spread to do, and a very old one. 8 is quite nice because it's you in the situation. 9 is how other people see you, and that can be hilarious.
Yes.
10 is the hopes and wishes, and the 11 is the final outcome.
Yeah.
And so that pattern, you know, it's a very good one to use for yourself for a start. I said it's a very old one. You'll find it all over if you look
in all the books.
In all the books, but it's very useful. And another one, this I said this is one I use a lot for color and everything else. 3 rows of 3.
Right. See, for me, I do the 5 rows of 6 when
Yeah,
I do my playing cards, but it's just room, room, room. But really,
yeah,
I only end up reading a
yeah.
few of them.
And I think that's it. It's like you sort out something that works. I mean,
Yes.
this originally I was doing for color,
Mm.
but it works for anything. Works for runes. It works for crystals. Works
Yes.
really well for crystals,
Yes.
actually. Yeah.
Yes.
And but
The
the thing
middle.
is you know what they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant.
So, so
This is
really, so really simple stuff. You can take host back now.
I can take host back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if we disappear, you know what's happened, but I'm sure. Oh, it says it's there. Reclaim host. Ah,
There you
I am
go.
host again.
Well done.
Well done. See, we've learned something today, Sue.
Yeah, I know. Just say yeah.
Anyway, well, this has been amazing talking to you, and hopefully we can get you back again soon for maybe some more tarot card reading or something. Um, if people would like to have a reading with you, they can do that online, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you do?
And also, deep in the depths of, I don't think it's an option up on my shop on the shop at the moment, but deep in the depths of, there is holistic tarot course I've got lurking around that I wrote years ago. So if anybody particularly wants to learn a little bit, I mean, then we can sort out something, share it, me PDFing it over to wherever.
Yes, yes.
But the main thing is, yeah, get a deck you like,
Mm.
get to know them.
Mm.
And then you start to use them grounded, but clarity.
Mm.
And you watch the questioning. Watch the question you set up in your head. I mean, one of the good ones I use with the Celtic cross, actually. What are the energies around me at the moment?
Yes, that's a really good one. Yes.
And then you use that spread that actually will tell you, and it's
Yeah.
quite a good one.
Yes.
Particularly if you don't know quite what's happening for yourself.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we're in a difficult situation where we can't see the wood for the trees, it is better to have somebody else to read it for you,
It
to
is.
help
Yeah.
you, to
Yeah.
clear you. And that's why
right.
I would recommend Sue, because as you all know, I need help. Who do I go to? I go to Sue. So,
But it's one of those things. It's I think, like with a lot of things, it's a lot easier to do than astrology.
yes.
By a million miles, it's a lot easier to do, because apart from anything else, if you've got a good imagination and you're erring on psychic clairvoyant skills, you'll find that tarot is so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And also tarot only uses the right side of the brain, and so it is much more fluid in the way that it works. The drawback astrology is it uses both parts of the brain and they alternate, and that's what makes astrology so hard.
But you're very good at it.
Yeah, but tarot is very easy to use.
Yes.
And once you get the fear factor out of the way, and you understand what you're doing, and you understand what you should not be doing, and that nobody should do to you either, then you give it a far better reputation.
Well, thank you, Sue. So if you would like to have your cards read by Sue, please message her straight away at suelily52@gmail.com.
Yep.
Yes, see, I got that right. Or you can message me directly. And of course, you can look on her website, which is
SueLilly.co.uk.
very simple. And we really, really look forward to bringing Sue back. If you have any questions, you can message me or her. And of course, if you do like what you've heard, please do press like. And as I said, if you can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so we can bring much more information like this, and it's all free information. So thank you for listening, everybody. Really look forward to talking to you again very soon. And thank you, Sue.
You're
And
welcome.
it's been really, really wonderful today. And yeah, I look forward to speaking to everybody soon. Bye for now.
Bye.